If you are watching this right now, pause for a moment, because this message did not reach you by accident. Out of millions of videos online, you stopped here. That means something. You are special. God has led you to this message because He knows the season you have been walking through. Maybe the last season tested your faith. Maybe you faced moments when you felt tired, confused, or even discouraged. Maybe you wondered if the waiting would ever end. But today, heaven wants you to hear this clearly. Eyes have not seen what God has prepared for you this season. What is coming into your life is bigger than what you expected, greater than what you imagined, and better than what you prayed for. Even when it seemed like nothing was happening, God was quietly working behind the scenes, preparing blessings and opportunities that will surprise you. And now a good shift is coming into your life. The same story that once felt heavy is about to turn into testimony. The same season that stretched your faith is about to reveal why God made you wait. Your life is about to change in ways that will remind you that God's plans are always greater than your fears. Before we go any further, take a step of faith right now. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and help us reach 10,000 subscribers so this message of hope can reach others who need encouragement today. And in the comments, type 99 as a declaration that you believe something greater is coming into your life. Stay with me, because what God has prepared for you may be far beyond anything you have imagined. There are moments in life when it feels like we have already seen the best that life has to offer. We look back at certain seasons that seem brighter, easier, or more joyful, and we begin to believe that those moments were the peak of our story. Maybe there was a time when doors were opening, opportunities were coming, and everything seemed to fall into place. But now things feel slower, quieter, and sometimes uncertain. It's easy to wonder if the best days are already behind you. But here is the truth you need to hold on to today. God is not limited by what you have already experienced. Just because you have seen good things in the past does not mean God has finished writing your story. In fact, what He has prepared for you in this season may be far greater than anything you have seen before. There is a powerful promise in Scripture that reminds us that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and it has not even entered into the heart of man what God has prepared for those who love Him. Think about that for a moment. That means the blessings God is preparing for you are beyond human imagination. They are beyond your expectations, beyond your plans, and beyond what you thought was possible. Sometimes we limit God without realizing it. We look at our current circumstances and assume our future will look the same. We see the same problems, the same limitations, and the same obstacles, and we think nothing will change. But God does not operate according to human limitations. While you see what is in front of you, God sees the entire path ahead. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, God is still working behind the scenes. While you are praying, God is arranging things. While you are waiting, God is preparing opportunities. While you are facing challenges, God is strengthening you for what is coming next. Many of the greatest blessings in life are prepared in seasons when we feel like we are simply waiting. Think about a seed planted in the ground. When it first goes into the soil, it looks like nothing is happening. From the outside, it seems hidden and forgotten. But underneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. Roots are growing, strength is developing, and life is forming. In the same way, there are seasons in life when God is doing His greatest work where you cannot see it. What you are experiencing right now may not be the final chapter of your story. It may simply be the preparation for something greater. God often uses quiet seasons to build strength, character, and faith so that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to carry it. You may not be able to see what God is preparing today, but that does not mean it isn't real. There are opportunities being arranged, doors being aligned, and blessings being prepared that you cannot yet imagine. God is able to bring things into your life that you never expected. New relationships, new opportunities, new favor, and new direction. One moment of God's favor can change everything. One opportunity can shift your entire future. One door that God opens can take you into a season you never thought possible. So instead of believing that the best days are behind you, begin to believe that the best is still ahead. Lift your expectations. Renew your faith. Trust that God is working in ways you cannot yet see. Because what God is preparing for you in this season is not small, it is not ordinary, and it is not limited by your imagination. It is something greater, something bigger, and something more beautiful than you could ever have planned for yourself. There are seasons in life when it feels like everything is moving slower than expected. You prayed for something, believed for something, and trusted that it would happen quickly. But instead of progress, you find yourself waiting. Days turn into months, and sometimes months turn into years. In those moments, it is easy to feel discouraged and begin asking questions like, God, why is this taking so long? Or did I miss my opportunity? But what often looks like a delay to us is actually a season of preparation in God's plan. God does not operate according to our schedule. His timing is always purposeful, and every waiting season has meaning behind it. When things don't happen as quickly as we hoped, it does not mean that God has forgotten us. More often, it means that God is preparing something that requires time. Think about how many great things in life require a period of preparation before they appear. A seed planted in the ground does not immediately become a tree. It goes through a hidden season where roots grow deep beneath the surface before anything becomes visible. If someone judged the process too quickly, they might think nothing is happening. But in reality, the most important work is taking place where no one can see it. In the same way, God often uses delays to prepare both the blessing and the person who will receive it. Sometimes the blessing is ready, but we are not ready for it yet. Other times God is arranging circumstances, aligning people, and opening doors that must come together at the right moment. What feels like waiting may actually be God putting the final pieces in place. Many people in Scripture experienced long seasons of waiting before stepping into their purpose. During those seasons, it probably felt confusing and uncertain, but later they realized that every delay had a reason. Those waiting seasons developed strength, faith, patience, and character that were necessary for what God had planned. The truth is, if God gave us everything immediately, we might not be ready to carry it. Some blessings require growth before they arrive. Some opportunities require wisdom that can only be developed through experience. God sees the full picture of your future, and He knows exactly when the right moment will come. Sometimes the delay is actually protection. There may be situations, people, or circumstances that are not yet ready. If things happen too soon, they could fall apart. But when God's timing arrives, things begin to align in ways that could never happen through human effort alone. Waiting seasons can also deepen your relationship with God. When everything happens quickly and easily, we sometimes forget to depend on Him. But when we walk through seasons of uncertainty, we learn to trust Him more. We learn to pray more, to believe more, and to rely on His promises rather than our own understanding. If you are in a season where things feel delayed, do not lose heart. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean that nothing is happening. God is still working. He is still preparing. He is still moving behind the scenes in ways that you cannot yet see. One day you may look back at this waiting season and realize that it was not wasted time. It was the season where God was shaping your future. It was the season where He was strengthening your faith and preparing you for something greater than you imagined. The delay is not the end of your story. It is simply the preparation for the next chapter that God is about to reveal. One of the most challenging moments in life is when you are believing, praying, and hoping for change, but nothing around you seems to move. You continue to trust God, but your situation looks exactly the same. The problems you were facing last week are still there. The doors you hoped would open are still closed. The breakthrough you prayed for hasn't appeared yet. In those moments, it becomes easy to wonder if God is really working. But faith often requires us to trust God even when we cannot see what He is doing. Just because something is not visible does not mean it is not happening. God often does His greatest work behind the scenes long before we ever see the results. Think about how many things in life work this way. The wind cannot be seen, but you can see its effects. Electricity cannot be seen, but it powers entire cities. In the same way, God's work is often invisible at first, but that does not make it any less powerful or real. Many times we expect God to move in obvious ways. We want immediate answers, clear signs, and quick solutions. But God often works in ways that are quiet, subtle, and hidden. While we are focusing on what we can see, God is working in places we cannot see. He may be changing the hearts of people who will soon play an important role in your life. He may be arranging opportunities that have not yet appeared. He may be protecting you from situations that could harm your future. God is able to move pieces into place in ways that no human effort could ever accomplish. There are moments when it feels like nothing is happening, but those are often the moments when God is doing some of His most important work. Just like a builder prepares the foundation of a building before anyone sees the structure rise, God often prepares things beneath the surface before revealing the final result. When we cannot see progress, the temptation is to lose faith. We begin to think our prayers are unanswered or that our efforts are pointless. But this is exactly the moment when faith becomes most important. Faith is believing that God is working even when your eyes cannot yet see the evidence. Sometimes the reason we cannot see what God is doing is because the process is not finished yet. If we could see everything too early, we might misunderstand what God is building. But when the right moment comes, everything begins to make sense. There have been countless stories of people who felt stuck for a long time, only to suddenly experience a breakthrough that changed everything. The opportunity appeared unexpectedly. The door that was once closed suddenly opened. The situation that seemed impossible suddenly turned around. What they did not realize during the waiting season was that God had been working the entire time. Every prayer had been heard. Every moment of faith had mattered. God had been moving quietly, aligning circumstances and preparing the right moment. Your current situation may look unchanged, but that does not mean God has stopped working. He is still active in your life. He is still guiding your steps. He is still preparing things that you cannot yet imagine. So instead of focusing only on what you can see, choose to trust what God has promised. Believe that He is working even when the evidence is not visible. Hold on to faith in the quiet seasons, because those seasons often come right before something new begins. One day you may look back and realize that during the moments when you thought nothing was happening, God was actually preparing one of the most important chapters of your life. There are seasons in life when everything feels ordinary. Days pass by in the same routine, the same challenges, the same responsibilities, and sometimes it feels like nothing is changing. You may be doing your best, staying faithful, working hard, and continuing to believe. Yet it seems like the opportunities you hoped for are not appearing. In those moments, it is easy to think that life will always stay the same. But God often works in ways that surprise us. Just when we begin to think nothing will change, He brings a season of unexpected favor. Favor is something that cannot always be explained by human effort alone. It is when God opens doors that you could not open by yourself. It is when opportunities appear that you never planned. It is when people notice you, support you, or help you in ways that you did not expect. Favor can change situations quickly because when God decides to bless you, things can shift in ways that go beyond logic. Many people believe that success or breakthrough always comes slowly and gradually. Sometimes that is true, but there are also moments when God moves suddenly. A door that has been closed for years can open in a single moment. A connection that seemed impossible can appear unexpectedly. An opportunity you never imagined can show up right when you need it. Throughout life, there are countless examples of people who experienced this kind of favor. They were simply living their lives, staying faithful, continuing to move forward even during difficult seasons. Then one unexpected moment changed everything. Someone noticed their work, an opportunity appeared, or a situation turned around in a way they never predicted. The beautiful thing about God's favor is that it does not always depend on perfect circumstances. You may feel unqualified, overlooked, or even forgotten by others, but God sees your faithfulness. He sees the effort you have put in when no one else was watching. He sees the prayers you have whispered in quiet moments and the times you chose to keep believing even when things were hard. Sometimes we spend too much time focusing on what we lack instead of remembering that God is able to create opportunities out of nothing. He can place you in the right place at the right time. He can bring the right people into your life. He can open doors that no human power could ever open. This is why it is important to keep your heart filled with hope. When you wake up each day expecting only problems and disappointment, it becomes easy to miss the possibilities that God may be placing in front of you. But when you live with faith and expectation, you begin to recognize the small signs that something new may be unfolding. Unexpected favor can arrive when you least expect it. It might come through a conversation, a new opportunity, or a connection that leads you towards something greater. What once seemed impossible can begin to move forward in ways that surprise you. The season you are entering may look very different from the season behind you. The struggles that once held you back may begin to fade. The doors that once seemed locked may suddenly open. The people who once overlooked you may begin to recognize the value within you. When God releases favor over your life, it can move you into places that you never thought you could reach. It can turn ordinary days into extraordinary moments. It can take what seems small and transform it into something meaningful and powerful. So continue to walk forward with faith and expectation. The season ahead may hold opportunities that you cannot yet see. What feels ordinary today could soon become the moment where everything begins to change. God has a way of bringing favor into your life when you least expect it, and when it arrives, it can transform your future in ways that are greater than you ever imagined. Many people carry the weight of their past like a heavy burden on their shoulders. They look back at mistakes they made, opportunities they missed, or decisions they regret, and they begin to believe that those moments have permanently damaged their future. They tell themselves that if they had done things differently, life would be better now. Slowly, that regret turns into doubt, and doubt turns into the belief that God's promises may no longer apply to them. But the truth is that your past does not cancel God's promise for your life. God is not limited by your history, your failures, or the things that did not go the way you planned. While people often judge based on what they see in the past, God looks at what He placed inside you from the beginning. There is a powerful difference between how people see us and how God sees us. People often remember our mistakes, but God sees our potential. People may focus on the times we failed, but God focuses on the purpose He created us to fulfill. What you see as a broken chapter in your story, God may see as the beginning of a powerful testimony. Many of the most inspiring stories of faith come from people whose past looked far from perfect. They had moments of weakness, seasons of confusion, and times when they made decisions they later regretted. Yet those moments did not stop God's plan. In many cases, those difficult experiences actually prepared them for the purpose they would later walk into. The enemy often tries to use the past as a weapon against your future. He reminds you of every mistake and every failure, hoping you will believe that you are unworthy of God's promises. But God does not define your life by your lowest moments. His grace is greater than any mistake you have made. Grace means that God gives you the opportunity to begin again. It means your story is not finished just because you experienced failure. It means that even when you fall, God can help you stand again and continue moving forward. Sometimes the past feels powerful because we replay it in our minds over and over again. We remember what went wrong and imagine how things could have been different. But living in regret can quietly steal the joy and hope of the present moment. God did not create you to live trapped in yesterday. He created you to move forward into the future He prepared for you. What happened in the past may have been painful, but it does not have the authority to control what happens next. God can restore what was lost, rebuild what was broken, and guide you into a new season filled with purpose. The promise He placed over your life was never dependent on perfection. It was dependent on His love, His grace, and His plan. Sometimes the very experiences that made you feel disqualified are the same experiences that will allow you to help others. Your story may become a source of encouragement for someone who is going through the same struggle you once faced. The pain you once carried may become the testimony that gives someone else hope. Instead of allowing the past to define your future, begin to see it as a chapter that God can use for something greater. Every day is an opportunity to move forward with faith. Every moment is a chance to trust that God's promises are still alive. Your past may explain part of your story, but it does not determine your destiny. God's promise over your life is stronger than any mistake, stronger than any failure, and stronger than any regret. When you choose to trust Him and move forward with faith, you open the door for a new chapter to begin, one that is filled with hope, restoration, and purpose. There are moments in life when everything around you seems ordinary. The days look the same, the routines repeat, and nothing appears to be changing. You continue praying, believing, and hoping that something new will happen, yet your circumstances seem unchanged. In seasons like this, it can be easy to lower your expectations and simply accept things the way they are. But sometimes, right in the middle of an ordinary season, God is preparing to do something extraordinary. This is why it is important to learn to live with expectation. When you expect nothing, It becomes easy to overlook the ways God may be moving in your life. But when you wake up each day believing that God is able to do something amazing, your heart becomes open to the possibilities that He places in front of you. A new season often begins quietly. At first, there may be no obvious signs that anything is changing. The same challenges may still exist. The same obstacles may still stand in your way. But that does not mean that God has stopped working. In fact, some of the greatest miracles happen after long periods where nothing seems to move at all. Faith is not only believing in God during the easy moments. Faith becomes powerful when you continue believing even when the evidence is not visible. When you choose to trust that God can still move in your life, even when circumstances appear the same, you begin to create space for something new to happen. Miracles often come when people least expect them. They arrive in moments when situations seemed impossible, when doors appeared permanently closed, or when hope seemed distant. Suddenly something changes. A door opens that no one expected. A problem that seemed permanent suddenly finds a solution. A breakthrough appears where there once seemed to be none. The reason miracles can feel surprising is because they go beyond human understanding. They are not always the result of careful planning or human effort. Instead, they are moments when God steps into a situation and changes what seemed impossible. Throughout life, there are countless stories of people who reached a point where they felt stuck, only to experience a sudden shift that changed everything. The opportunity they were waiting for finally arrived. The answer they had been praying for suddenly appeared. The breakthrough they thought might never happen became reality. What many of them did not realize during their difficult seasons was that God had been working behind the scenes the entire time. Even when they felt discouraged, their prayers were still being heard. Even when they thought nothing was happening, God was still arranging things in ways they could not see. This is why it is important not to lose hope during quiet seasons. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean that nothing is happening. Sometimes God is aligning circumstances, preparing opportunities, and positioning the right people to enter your life at the right moment. When the right time arrives, everything can begin to change very quickly. A connection can appear that opens a new path. An unexpected opportunity can move your life in a new direction. A single moment can shift the entire course of your future. Miracles do not always appear the way we expect them to. Sometimes they come in forms that seem small at first. A conversation, an idea, or a simple opportunity may look ordinary in the beginning. But over time, those small moments can grow into something powerful. Learning to expect miracles also means learning to change the way you think about your future. If you constantly expect disappointment, it becomes difficult to see the possibilities that God is placing before you. But when you begin to expect that good things can happen, your perspective begins to shift. You start waking up with hope instead of fear. You start believing that the next chapter of your life can hold something better than the last. You begin to see opportunities where others might only see problems. Expectation is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending challenges do not exist. Life will always include moments of struggle and uncertainty. But expectation means believing that God is still greater than those difficulties. It means trusting that He has the power to bring change, even when circumstances seem fixed. There may have been seasons in your life when you prayed and felt like nothing happened. There may have been moments when you believed something would change, but it did not happen the way you expected. Experiences like that can sometimes make people afraid to hope again. But every season is different. What did not happen yesterday does not determine what can happen tomorrow. God is able to create new beginnings even after long periods of waiting. The new season ahead of you may contain blessings that you cannot yet imagine. It may include opportunities that were not visible before. It may bring relationships, ideas, and breakthroughs that change the direction of your life. Sometimes the miracle is not only in the outcome, but also in the transformation that happens within you during the journey. As you continue to trust God, your faith grows stronger. Your perspective changes. You begin to see life through a lens of hope rather than fear. And when that shift happens, you begin to notice the ways God is moving in your life more clearly. The small signs of progress become visible. The quiet moments of guidance become meaningful. The unexpected opportunities begin to appear. One day you may look back and realize that the season you once thought was ordinary was actually the beginning of something extraordinary. The prayers you whispered were heard. The faith you held on to mattered. The hope you refused to give up became the foundation for something beautiful. So step into this new season with expectation. Believe that God is still able to do what seems impossible. Trust that miracles are not limited to the past, and they are not reserved for only a few people. They are part of the story that God continues to write in the lives of those who believe. Your future is not limited by what you see today. The next chapter of your life may hold moments that surprise you, opportunities that inspire you, and blessings that remind you that God was working all along. When you choose to expect miracles, you open your heart to the possibility that this new season may be the one where everything begins to change.